Good morning, future Golden Griffins. My name is Matt Kwiatowski. I am an Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at Canisius College. Welcome to our current student panel for our virtual spring open house. Joining me are four current students who will introduce themselves in just a moment, but I also want to recognize that we have Rachel Massaro, who's one of our counselors, will also be on this call to help with the Q&A. And just to let you know, for any of the questions that you might have for our panelists, please fill in the Q&A section and we can have them asked to our panelists. I'll try to get through as many as possible, but of course, if any are not answered at the end, we will of course follow up with you. And without further ado, I'm going to have our panelists introduce themselves, and I'll start with Pat. If you could just give me and our attendees your name, year, major, and your hometown.
Sure. Morning, everybody. My name is Pat Collins. I just graduated from the college. I was a senior this past year. I'm from Orchard Park, New York. Went to Canisius High School, and I was a finance major at Canisius.
My name is Erin Metz. I am a junior. I'm a double major in adolescent education and French. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
My name is Rodrigo Ortiz. I'm a junior as well, studying finance, economics, and psychology, and I'm from Williamsville, New York.
Again, I'm Bridget Brogan. I'm a dual major in communications and journalism, and I just finished my junior year, and I am from Syracuse, New York.
Awesome. Thank you all for answering the question and introducing yourselves. So with the first question, I'm going to start with Pat. If you could answer this first, since you're kind of coming full circle, and congratulations again on graduating.
Thank you.
The first question is, what type of experiences have you had with faculty during your time at Canisius, and what makes it so unique?
Sure. I think that was one of the reasons why I ultimately chose to go to Canisius, was to form close bonds with faculty and staff. That was something that I had heard about Canisius through, other students that I had known who had gone there. They had said, if you're looking for an experience where you're going to get to know your professors and get to know your classmates on a different level, Canisius is the right fit for you. At Canisius, you're not just a number. You really do get to know your professors pretty well. I've had relationships with professors that have gone outside the classroom, every year that I've been in school, from freshman year up until senior year. And, even today, I'm still keeping in touch with some of the professors that I'm closest with. The director of our all college honors program, Dr. Darrenfield, him and I are pretty close. So I actually did some research for him this week. He was on sabbatical this past year, but I've been helping him with his research. He's researching African-American history in the Deep South. But, where else will you get to help a professor with the research at any other college? So I just think some of those experiences are special and ones that I'll definitely cherish forever.
Erin, would you chime in a little bit about the education faculty too?
Yeah, absolutely. So the education department is very tight-knit and everybody knows everybody, and you can always reach out to whoever you need to get into contact with. So this past semester, I have really enjoyed my methods class, and it was very tiny. There were only 2 of us in there, which was awesome. And we actually had a local high school teacher come in and teach our class here at Canisius, and it was amazing because she offered a lot of hands-on experience and would say, this is what works in my Spanish classroom. It was a methods class for teaching foreign language. And I really enjoyed that one-on-one interaction. She's also coming back to teach our part 2 of this class next semester, and I'm really excited. And, she's made herself really accessible, really easy to chat with. And I would say that all the professors are really approachable.
Yeah, definitely going off of what Erin said, in the College of Arts and Sciences, especially the communications and journalism departments, the faculty are so available and they're so interactive with all of the students. I have worked on projects with just about every single one of my professors, and currently right now, specifically, I'm doing one-on-one research with one of my advisors on the children's television show Reading Rainbow. And that is a relationship that first developed in the classroom when I had my professor as a freshman. And now going into my senior year, we've developed this wonderful, student-professor relationship, but it's also developed outside of the classroom. And, I'm in constant daily contact with her, as well as a lot of my other professors. And they're always willing to give you the extra hand that you need to accomplish anything. And you can come to them with a crazy idea of something you want to try or you want to do, and they're the first ones there to be in your corner and support you. and they're absolutely they're amazing. And this is just for arts and sciences, but I know that this same type of relationship exists throughout all of the college, no matter what major you're studying. So it's amazing.
Awesome. Thank you guys for answering that. My next question is, what sort of opportunities outside of the classroom have you guys been able to experience, whether it's through research, study abroad, or internships? I would ask Rodrigo if you could start with some of the experiences you've had, and then everybody else can kind of chime in as they get anything.
Sure, yeah. So I'm involved in quite a few clubs around campus. I've also had the opportunity to get multiple internships through actually some of these clubs. Like my business professional fraternity got me access to Citibank internship that I'm doing this summer. I've also been doing research with one of the new professors that just came into campus this past year with peer victimization, which has been really, really interesting, just seeing like how different atmospheres really affect us as individuals. And I've actually worked with Pat in the past, well, same organization, different departments with the Buffalo Bills, and that's been one heck of a ride, and we can't wait to go on and win the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah, I can take over, Matt. Going off of the internships part that Rodrigo was talking about, when I got to college, I kind of wanted to explore different professional areas. And so I didn't really know, what I wanted to do for a career. I was a finance major, but I wanted to explore different areas through internships. So since I've been at Canisius, I worked at a law firm, I worked at a marketing and communications firm, and then as Rodrigo said, I was fortunate enough to work for the Buffalo Bills and the Buffalo Sabres. So just those experiences I wouldn't have been able to have if it were not for Canisius College. So I'm definitely thankful for that.
Absolutely. Sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Pat, I was going to talk about you've brought up professional experiences, and I studied abroad, which maybe won't seem initially as a professional experience, but it was an absolutely life-changing experience, and I gained a lot of skills that will translate into my professional career as a teacher. Canisius has a ton of study abroad opportunities, at least over 20 all over the world, and I was fortunate enough to go to France twice through Canisius. So I first was an English teaching assistant for 6 weeks the summer after my freshman year in Paris, France, and that was absolutely amazing. I worked at a K-12 school. I lived with a host family. And then my second semester, sophomore year, I spent the semester abroad in Lille, France, which is way in the north, right next to Belgium. And I was a full-time French student there. And again, it was an absolutely amazing experience. You don't have to speak another language in order to study abroad. And I gained so many skills through that. Obviously, my French improved, but just so many life skills that I gained are really valuable and will help me along the way. So highly recommend that if anybody wants to study abroad, you can definitely do it.
Bridget, did you want to also say something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just like as far as internships go, there's the opportunity to have multiple internships as early as your sophomore year at Canisius, depending on what program you're in. And honestly, the internships are the best way to try out and find out what you do and don't like. And even if you don't like what you're doing at the internship, there's always an opportunity to switch and try something else. So just take advantage of as many of those opportunities as possible. And it's a great experience no matter what you do.
And actually, if I can jump back in there, Bridget, you brought up testing things out and seeing if a career is right for you. With the education program, you get into the classroom your very first semester here. So if you're kind of curious about whether you want to be a teacher or not, you'll have a 10-hour placement that very first semester that you decide to be an education major, and you can figure it out. So if it's for you, great, you get to continue. But there are some kids that realize, hey, this isn't really for me, and we're able to switch their major early enough.
I'll jump back in too, Matt, if you don't mind. Canisius really promotes internships and learning outside the classroom. In the business school especially, I was allowed to structure my classes on certain days of the week. So for a couple semesters, I only took classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that I could go out and get some professional experience through an internship and work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So, that experience was invaluable. But Canisius allowing me to do that was definitely special.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. So another question we have is, what was your favorite part about Canisius outside of the academics, whether it was participating in a particular experience or an organization that you were lucky enough to be involved with? Let's go with Bridget, if you want to start.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There are so many different clubs and activities on campus. It could be overwhelming when you first come. I remember going to my first club fair and saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to be part of 20 clubs because they're all great and amazing. But what I love about Canisius is that you can be involved in so many different activities. And if you have many different interests, then there's definitely a club for you. So just for me, for example, I'm an athlete, I'm on the rowing team, but I also knew that I wanted to be a part of Greek life. So Aaron is actually also in my sorority with me. And so that's like two different worlds. You know, I have my athletic side, and then I go, and then I have my sisters in my sorority, which is just fantastic because it gives you a different perspective on the school. You know, I'm not just hanging out with the student athletes, I'm hanging out with students from all different majors, all different clubs and organizations, and it's the best way to get to know people. And honestly, some of my closest friends have come from the clubs that I've joined in my time at Canisius. So definitely just try to get involved in as much as you can. And it's good to try things on early on. You can go to introductory club meetings and things like that. And sometimes they may not be for you. And other times you see that this is where you belong. This is your fit. So just kind of try them on and see what you like, because it can't hurt to try something new.
Yeah, some of the fondest memories that I have from Canisius, sort of what Aaron said, you know, I wasn't traveling outside the country, I was traveling inside the country. So I was fortunate enough to take a lot of trips through our honors college. We normally take a yearly trip every year. So I've gone to New Orleans, Louisiana, I've gone to Washington, D.C., I've gone to Boston, Massachusetts, gone to Cleveland, Ohio, a lot of different cities. And, you know, we usually stay overnight for a weekend. So we'll go leave campus on either a Thursday or a Friday, get back on a Sunday. But just those experiences, you know, you're building the bonds with your classmates outside of the classroom. You're getting closer with professors. You know, that's what makes Canisius so special.
Yeah, in terms of building bonds, it's really easy to get really close with people here because it is a small school. And I think one of the best ways to do so is going on a retreat through campus ministry. So I don't know who's been on Kairos on this call, but anybody at Canisius who has been on a Kairos retreat will tell you that it is a life-changing weekend. So basically, in case you're not familiar with it, it's a 3-day retreat off at Cradle Beach, which is about a 45-minute drive from here. And it's a weekend to just connect with yourself, connect with your classmates. It can be religious, it can be not spiritual, it can be not religious. It's really what you make of it. And I met some of my closest friends through that retreat and really learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my faith, and I recommend that everybody, I think everybody at Canisius would say that we ask you to go one time while you're here, and it'll really make your college experience a lot better.
Yeah, and going off Aaron's point about campus ministries retreat, I also went to El Salvador, last summer with President Hurley, just exploring through a service immersion program and just really learning like realities of the world outside of the U.S. borders, and just really, I don't know, just coming together to really gain a better perspective. I also went on Kairos, and like Pat, all the trips have been really, really fun wherever it's been. The school's been able to send me to Dallas, Texas, other Jesuit leadership conferences in either Detroit or Lemoyne. But yeah, no, it's really been a blast just being able to have all these experiences with like some of my closest friends, even competing in the a cappella competition from Pitch Perfect, as everybody knows it. So yeah, it's been really fun.
Awesome. Thank you guys for answering that. Next question is, why did you ultimately choose Canisius versus some of your other options you might have had? And we'll start with Aaron on this one.
So I ultimately chose Canisius because I wanted a small Catholic school. So I looked at a few, and it came down to 2 different schools. One was a school in Michigan where I was going to be able to play hockey there, and then here at Canisius where I would live in Buffalo, and I have some extended family here. So I was kind of the toss of, do I want to go play hockey? Do I want to play or come be with my family? And I ultimately chose to be with my family. And the deciding factor for me was my second visit. I came and I met with the education department with one of the professors, and she really sold it to me, really sealed the deal. And as I was walking to the campus, I just got the feeling, and I knew that this was the place for me, and that I could see myself here for 4 years and maybe even after that. So I guess that's why I chose Canisius, because of the feeling.
Yeah, going with what Aaron said, it was actually also on my second visit to Canisius that I knew that this was the school I wanted to go to. And as I said earlier this morning, I chose Canisius, again, based on this feeling. But for me, it just, as soon as I stepped on campus, it felt like I was home. It just felt very warm, very welcoming. And everyone is just so friendly. And honestly, being at a small school, you can know just about everyone you see in the hallway. Like whether you're not best friends with them, but you always know their name and you say hi, and same with all the staff and faculty at Canisius. And one of my new favorite things is just like when you go in the library at Canisius, and before you even sit down at a table, you have struck up like 5 to 10 conversations with people, and you could be there for an hour before you even sit down and try to do some homework, because you get to develop relationships with everyone around campus, and it just makes it such a more rich experience than if you're going to a larger school and you don't get to meet as many people and develop as close relationships with as many people as you can at Canisius.
Yeah, for me, it was really about that the fact that Canisius really, I guess, wanted me personally in that aspect, where they gave a generous financial aid package. They kept like hammering down emails and saying, hey, when would you like to come in? And it turns out the 3 people that changed my mind actually happened to be, I think it was Kayla Maggiore, who was the first person I had as my tour guide, then Megan Pointer, who actually ended up being one of my closer friends once I came to Canisius. And the first person to ever give me a tour was actually my advisor for my fraternity that I didn't find out till like a year after. But I've had close relationships with a few of them, and now I guess the fact that Canisius has really given me the opportunities to explore a really great career is honestly awesome.
Yeah, going off of what Bridget was saying, I was always looking for a close-knit kind of campus. And Bridget's right. I mean, if you'll walk across the quad, on a nice spring day, or go to the library, or just walk around the hallways on campus, I mean, you're going to see people that and are, super close friends with. And she's right. I mean, you'll get stuck in conversations for 15 minutes, 20 minutes that can stretch into an hour long. It's happened to all of us before. I can definitely attest to that. I'm a Buffalo guy through and through. I've lived in Orchard Park my whole life. I went to Canisius High School. So I really wanted the opportunity to stay close to home in Buffalo. And, Canisius College gave me the best chance to do that. Our business school, which is what I was a part of, is prestigious, to say the least. So that was definitely something that appealed to me. But then also making those close relationships and forming those close relationships with not just other students, but professors as well. So, the combination of all those different factors ultimately led me to Canisius.
Okay, and I can attest for Pat sitting in my office and having conversations for like a half hour or two. So
that's right.
So just to kind of get into some of the questions some of our attendees are asking, this one is for Bridget specifically. How do you balance doing your athletics and academics on campus?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So that's academics is obviously first and foremost the reason you're going to college in the first place. And as a freshman, as a student athlete, you are required to do study hours when you first join an athletic team. But you're doing it with your own teammates, so it's not like you're sitting alone in a room or anything like that. You just have to log certain study hours. But it's something that you get an academic athletic advisor, and then your coaches work with you to set up schedules, to set up what classes you're taking, to set up reasonable times for work and studying. Now, I can attest to this, that on a daily basis, I'm constantly doing schoolwork with my teammates in the library. Now, I'm not saying I have homework every single day, but when things get done, you can always find me with my teammates trying to study, trying to get homework done. And even on weekends that we do have to travel, your professors are always willing to work with you if you have to reschedule an exam for a game, if you need an extension on a paper because you were at a tournament for 3 days in a row. Your professors and your academic advisors are so capable and are always willing to work with you. As long as you are upfront with them and you explain to them, what your situation is going on. And there are tons of student athletes on campus. So you're never going to be like the only person who is having this situation. And so people that I always looked up to when I was a freshman on the team, I'd always look up to the seniors on my team because, they've had 4 years of trying to balance academics and athletics. And let me tell you, it is more than possible. And Canisius makes it, if any way, easy to do both. So if that's ever a concern of yours, don't let it be.
Awesome. So my next question that came from our attendees, this one, Aaron, if you could answer this one and talk about a little bit about the timeline that retreats occur for campus ministry, but also kind of like when do they have activities available for students to do for campus ministry?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of retreats, there's several that are scattered throughout the year. So the Kairos retreat that I mentioned a little bit earlier, that happens 3 times a year, so once in the fall and then twice in the spring semester. And that's open to pretty much all students. Freshmen just can't go in the first one, but it's not a big deal. And then freshmen specifically have a couple of retreats just for them. So you have your freshman retreat, which is the first or second weekend of school, I believe, and it's just a day retreat. That's actually where I met one of my closest friends too, so I'd recommend that everybody goes. And then freshmen also have sometimes a retreat in the spring semester, depending on interest, which can be really helpful as well. And there's a couple others, like Always Our Children, which is an LGBTQ+ and support type retreat, which is amazing as well. So all sorts of retreats that will definitely happen and you'll find time to go on. In terms of campus ministry, they obviously do a lot of service. So there's weekend service available, like sandwich ministry, where you can go make sandwiches and bring them downtown and deliver them to homeless people outside of the library. There's big service trips, which can be domestic, which are a couple of days long over winter break, and they go to like Erie, Pennsylvania, or they go to Wheeling, West Virginia. Or there's some really large scale ones that go, like that Rodrigo mentioned earlier, that go to El Salvador, that go to Jamaica, Poland, things like that. So there's a lot of service involved, there's a lot of retreats, and then obviously there is Mass. Campus ministry welcomes all faiths to participate. However, we do have a Catholic Mass every day, and then we have a nice student-led Mass that Bridget actually helps out a lot at as well on Sundays, which is a really great time just to connect before your week starts and kind of recenter.
Awesome, thank you. The next question, if anybody can chime in with this, whether you've been a resident or a commuter with us, how safe is the campus and the surrounding area with Canisius? And additionally, like, maybe talk a little bit about public safety and experiences you've had with them.
Yeah, I can start with that. So I think our public safety department is probably one of the best in the States. They're so incredible and they're so active on campus that you can't go 5 minutes without seeing a public safety officer or seeing one of their vehicles drive by. They're constantly surrounding the school and even the neighborhoods that surround Canisius. And I can personally say that I've always felt safe on campus. And our director of campus safety, Chief Beatty, she is phenomenal. She is a former police chief with Buffalo Police Department. And I actually had the opportunity to sit and interview her and write a news story about campus safety at Canisius. And I was able to get a whole tour of what campus safety does and how they patrol the area. And they are doing such a phenomenal job, and they really have a pulse on what the students are doing on campus and also any activity that is going around in the area. And, if anything ever happens with any students, they are the first to be there to help, and they are always just a phone call away, whether you might feel uneasy about something or you just need a lift to go somewhere. They are always willing to be there to help. And I can say that I've personally always felt safe on our campus, and my safety has never been something that has been called into question just because they're so on top of it. And student safety is their number one priority. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely.
Go ahead, Erin.
I think they help out a lot. And anybody who maybe is a little worried about being in a new place or being in a city, I would say it's really safe. Obviously, we have our campus police, our campus or public safety, patrolling, but we also have Buffalo police that are not far away. And we also have a blue light system. So I know, especially if anybody's worried about walking around the campus, a lot of schools have a blue light system where if you feel unsafe, you can just hit a button and it's not a problem. Somebody will come and help you out. So really, especially because I'm not from here and my parents were a little worried about sending me to a school far away, it's not something to be concerned about. Public safety is great.
Awesome. This is kind of like a general open question, and anybody who has had experience with it or know people have experience with it, please feel free to jump in. Has anybody been involved with intramurals or club sports while they've been at Canisius, and kind of like what level have you kind of done? Obviously, Bridget's our Division I athlete on this, but just kind of chime into some of our other panelists.
I'm guessing we've all probably been involved in the intramurals. I mean, even if you're playing Division I sports, a lot of my friends who are athletes, they still like to play intramurals because of how fun it is. I mean, intramurals are taken pretty seriously at such a small school. I mean, everyone's pretty intense. We have basketball, we have volleyball, a lot of different sports that you can choose from. But yeah, I'll let other people chime in, but I've played basketball for 4 years. I'm sure other people have as well.
Yeah, Bridget and I actually met through our intramural volleyball team freshman year, and it was so much fun. I mean, Bridget's a really good volleyball player, and so was my roommate. So they kind of carried our team. And I'm 5 feet tall, so I didn't really do much. I was more of a cheerleader and a go-getter. But we had a great time. We actually won somehow. It was a great memory. We look back on it. It brought us together. So even if you're not, it's not your sport. Like volleyball was never my sport, but I had a blast playing it. So.
Yeah, and going along with that, when I joined the team with Aaron, I didn't know any of the people that were on the team. It was through a mutual person saying they needed this sixth person on the team. And so I said, okay, I'll try it. And I'm friends with everyone that was on the Freshmen of Bel Air. That was our team name. We have T-shirts still, but it was a phenomenal experience, and it got me to know more students that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise if I hadn't tried to join intramurals. So it was a blast, and I still look back at it as one of my favorite memories from Canisius so far.
Awesome. So the question that came up pretty early in this panel was one of our panelists or attendees asked, what are some of your favorite annual events hosted at Canisius? So if everybody could just name just one event. I know there's a lot of them for everybody. Just what's your favorite annual event that happens at Canisius?
I think everyone's going to say Griff Fest, right, Matt?
I mean, let's share the wealth a little bit.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Griff Fest is our end of the year celebration. So the school does a really good job of promoting, a lot of food trucks that come on campus. It's just the whole campus really gathers together and comes together. Everyone has a day off from classes. So it's just fun to, really feel the camaraderie around campus and the community that really comes together. I think all of us were thinking our favorite annual event was probably Griff Fest. So I'm sorry I took it from you guys, but.
I know. I think the big thing to talk about, though, at Griff Fest, though, is the food trucks. So they bring in quite many food trucks from around the Buffalo area, and it's free to students, so you don't have to pay to eat this amazing food that comes locally. But the food trucks, that's the best thing. They come on campus throughout the entire school year. So when you're welcome back week in the beginning of the fall semester, like almost every day there's like an ice cream truck, there's oh god, I can't even think of all of them right now, but there's like the cheese truck that has like crazy grilled cheese sandwiches, and there's smoothies, and it's like I just love the food. That's the best thing about the city of Buffalo, is just the food. So at Griff Fest, it definitely highlights it, but there's way more opportunities for eating that type of stuff throughout the entire school year.
Yeah, and then I personally love the semi-formal. I mean, I obviously love the events that Pat and Bridget pointed out, but I love to dance. I loved all my high school dances, which I know is a very cliche thing to say, but the student programming board always puts on a really great night downtown at Pearl Street, which is a really cool restaurant. And we rent out the place. It's like $10 a ticket for a student, so it's really affordable. You get dinner, you get to dance. You can bring guests that don't go here too if you'd like, and it's just so much fun getting to dress up a little bit and see all your friends downtown.
To not steal anybody else's, I would probably have to say during Welcome Week too, but the bonfire, where we set a few things on fire to create where we all like gather around as a campus. Like Pat said, on Griff Fest, we all like general camaraderie, and we really had like a wonderful night, just burning purple, showing Niagara who's boss, and just having a good time.
For those who don't know, our biggest rival is Niagara University, which is located not too far away from us. Just to kind of like tie this all together, we have about 2 minutes left. If everybody could just give one piece of advice, just one brief piece of advice they would want to give to all these students as they begin their college search. Aaron, if you want to go first.
Yeah, I would say keep looking, keep your options open. Don't be afraid to go on tours, ask as many questions as you want. No question's a stupid question, and you're not committing yourself to anything just by going on a tour. Really just explore your options.
I would say trust your gut. Believe in yourself, believe in your ability to make the right decision. Don't put too much weight on what your friends think of your decision or what your parents think of your decision, because ultimately it's your life. College are your 4 years to enjoy. So, go where you think you're going to fit in the best and make the most of it.
Yeah, and when it comes to picking a school, I would definitely look at what school or campus provides you the most opportunities to try as many things as possible. Because again, I'm someone who did change majors as a freshman, as do most college students. And you don't want to kind of buckle yourself in to do one thing for the next 4 years when you may not like it. So make sure that you have the opportunity to try as many different things as possible and to try out what you do and don't like, because then you'll really know what is meant for you.
I would say if you have some sort of future goal or aspirations in life, just to see what school, if you're choosing one, who's going to really invest in you and make sure you can achieve those goals. So.
Awesome. I want to first thank our panelists. We'll give a virtual round of applause for them and for sharing their Canisius experiences with us. For any questions that we did not cover, we will note them and follow up with them after this panel. Again, just let you know, our next session starts at 11:50 a.m. and that's our virtual tour that's going to be led by the famous Rose Neville, one of our great tour guides. Additionally, if you need to get to that virtual tour, please return to the main event page to find the link for the tour. And once again, we thank you for attending our spring virtual open house and have a great rest of your day.